Maybe I'm protecting Mother Nature the way I would protect my mom. My parents were, Holocaust survivors. I really learned a lot about appreciating all the little things in life, and which led me into a deeper understanding of gratitude. And I think what I've learned is that beauty is sort of nature's tool for survival because we protect what we love.
Well, hello there, and welcome to a very special episode of the Terri Cole Show. Wow, wow, wow. I just had the most intriguing conversation with Louie Schwartzberg. He is a renowned filmmaker. You probably know him from the 2019 movie narrated by Brie Larson called Fantastic Fungi. It got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes because people loved it. I was turned on to that by my nephew, Cole Hughes, I believe, who's obsessed with fungi. But that was my introduction to knowing who he was. But he has such a notable career. His life story, absolutely fascinating. You definitely are familiar with his work, whether you know his name or not. He provides this breathtaking imagery using time-lapse, high speed, and macro cinematography techniques. He's really a visionary visual artist who breaks barriers and connects with audiences in this way. He tells stories that celebrate life, reveal the mysteries and wisdom of nature and people and places and beauty. He also is known for his hit series, Moving Art, and season 4 just got released of Moving Art. And this is an immersive nature experience. It originally aired on Netflix and was streamed by millions of people worldwide. In this, he uses slow motion and time-lapse visual effects to take viewers on this immersive journey through nature. And I was saying to him in the interview how, there's nothing between you and the experience, that the moment I started watching, it was like I got dropped into this portal of absolute beauty. So season 4 of this just got released in May of this year. And now this time he's taking audiences across 4 continents, which is, it's so incredible. The people's faces are so amazing, including the wilderness of Antarctica. And I'm not going to give it all away up front. I want to, but I'm not going to. I interview him. I think the interview is great. I think you're going to love it. But I feel so identified with his view on life. And one of his books is about one of his movies is called Gratitude Uncovered. And we talk about that as well. But as those of you who actually know me know that I am a gratitude freak. It's like, I think it's my winning formula in life. Wow, I super hope that you enjoy this interview with Louie Schwartzberg as much as I enjoyed interviewing him. And wow, go right now. Go watch Moving Art. You're going to love it. I am super excited to welcome Louie Schwartzberg to the Terri Cole Show. Welcome, Louie.
Great to be with you, Terry.
Oh my God, there's so many things I want to talk about, and we're gonna cover as many as we can. But what I'd love to do, if it works for you, is I'd love to start with, all of us who do whatever we do in life, we do it for reasons, right? So nothing is sort of random. Imagine
Right.
if you were a Marvel movie character, right? You'd have an origin story of like what inspires you to do what you do. So tell us a little bit about your origin story. What
Mm,
does inspire you to do all the things that you do?
that's a great question. So I think that I'd have to probably go back to the fact that my parents were, Holocaust survivors. So growing up in Brooklyn, I really learned a lot about appreciating all the little things in life, and which led me into a deeper understanding of gratitude. For them, it was food on the table, a roof over your head, a steady job. And, growing up under that roof, naturally, I wanted to fight for social justice. I care a lot about any species that might be facing extinction for no reason. So I went off to UCLA, and I was going to be probably a lawyer to fight for social justice. I was a history major, but right outside my door at that time were the anti-war protests that were happening, and I really couldn't study the French Revolution when there was a revolution happening on campus. So I quickly learned photography. We didn't have iPhones back then. I actually had to take a course and learn how to use a camera. But I wanted to document the police brutality that was occurring because that's what my parents said. I mean, the only way to combat a situation like that is to bear witness and to be able to tell your story. So I handed in these photo essays to my, history class, and it was a lot easier for me than writing a paper. And that's when I found my voice. And I fell in love with photography. I spent hours and all nighters in the dark room, and it was my form of expression. Looking through the lens gives me an opportunity to kind of have a third eye view of the world. But what also it did, it opened up a pathway into exploring nature.
Mm.
And because nature is the ultimate teacher in terms of art, color, composition, texture, movement, and not only art, but really how to live your life, how to live a sustainable life, how to be compassionate, how not to waste a single molecule.
Mm.
And I'm still learning from Mother Nature, and that opened up a balance between Brooklyn and never going into nature. If my parents didn't do it, I didn't do it. We never went into nature. We never even went on vacation because to them having that apartment in Brooklyn was heaven on earth compared to where they came from, you know. And so for me to open up my world into exploring the rhythms and patterns of nature, which connected to my soul, was my first kind of spiritual experience.
Wow. There's so much to unpack there, but it's like the activism came naturally to you given your family of origin experience. But then it turned into so much more than that. And one part of your story, you are obsessed with gratitude, and now beauty is
Mm.
more of a focus. But I want to talk about, I kind of want to talk about all of it, but for your own experience of gratitude, because when you're raised with your parents could have been a lot of things, being traumatized in the way that they were.
Yes.
But it seems like your parents, so did they want to live because of their experience? You know how some survivors they
Right.
don't live, right? We know
Yeah.
this.
Well, I think because they survived is a testament to their DNA and their worldview. Because 90% of I think the Jews in Poland did not survive.
Right.
I'm actually feel that what a gift it is that I'm, the descendant of a man and a woman that were part of that 10% that did survive. So I must have some good survivor genes in me as well.
Right. Yes.
And I think that um, if you were overly maybe emotional, you probably wouldn't do well in Auschwitz. I think that for my dad, he definitely had a strong character. My mom just had an unbelievable faith in life,
Mm.
and I think that's what pulled her through. She actually volunteered to go into a camp, which and the Germans said if one member of the family would go to this quote unquote work camp, then that was like their first step that they did in terms of getting everybody rounded up. And so she had an older sister that had, was married with children, and the same thing with her older brother. So she was like 16, and she said, I will go to this work
Mm.
camp. So she willingly went, and she spent 5 years in Auschwitz,
Yeah.
which is a real miracle. And maybe because of the fact that she didn't resist, who knows? I don't know. That could have been, in a way, a saving grace for her.
Yeah. Was it that if she went, they wouldn't take everyone else, or did they take everyone
Yeah.
else anyway?
It took everyone else eventually anyway.
Yes. Yes. Got it. So
Eventually. It was
right.
just a game. First, you have to wear a star on your shirt. And first, it was like an incremental thing of little by little, they would take your rights away, and then eventually they would ship you away.
Wow. It's so interesting how your work, which we're going to get into right now, but it's so about like thriving. It's so alive. It's so visual. It's so incredible. Like I'm a huge fan.
Oh, thank
It,
you.
oh
Maybe I'm protecting Mother Nature the way I would protect my mom.
yeah.
I mean, don't screw. I mean, because of I was born with my parents who have that legacy. I would do everything I can to protect them. And I think what I've learned is that, you know, beauty is sort of nature's tool for survival because we protect what we love. We
Mm,
protect what we love, and that's ingrained in me, I think.
yeah. And it's like I can, from a psychological point of view, which I find this all so fascinating, that you could have gone many ways with having the experience that you
Yeah.
had being this next generation. There's a lot of survivor guilt. There's a lot of, I
Yeah.
didn't have that experience guilt. There's no suffering that I could have because the generation before did all the suffering. And the fact that it's almost like it turns something on in you differently, where you don't waste a molecule or a drop,
Right.
that you've been doing this, what is it called? The filming that you do where it's
Well,
time
like the time
lapse,
lapse. Yeah.
just not endingly for decades, like literally doing it for decades. But what it stirs in me, the work that you've done and what I've seen in your TED Talk is great. And we'll put all the links so that people can see,
Yeah.
is such an appreciation for beauty and for nature and for Mother Nature, which I have naturally anyway. But there's really something where you're like, wow, how
Hmm.
blessed are we to
Hmm.
be alive, to still be on this earth that still is offering us all of this beauty, even though we've treated her so incredibly badly. Like,
Right.
wow.
Right.
Thank you, Earth.
Well,
All right. So can we talk a little bit about the 2019 documentary on fungi
yeah.
that became, this became Brie Larson narrated it. This became where most people, or a lot of people, call Fantastic Fungi. I heard about it because I have a nephew who is obsessed with fungi and does
Yeah.
this for a living, works at it. So I knew of that and had seen it, so I was aware of it. But let's talk a little bit before we get into moving art, which will be maybe the
Yeah.
last thing we talk about. But can you talk a little bit about that film, how it came about?
Sure.
Um,
Okay. So I think well, with Mother Nature as my guide, I've always been, beauty triggers curiosity and wonder
mm,
and awe. So I'm always fascinated by unveiling the mysteries of life. So the time lapse that I started, 5 decades ago, where I've got cameras going nonstop in my studio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop, is to continue to be blown away by the fact that there are dimensions of reality we don't see. Flowers are moving at a different frame rate than we are. Certainly, a flea is at a different frame rate. The hummingbird's a different frame rate. Some things are too slow, too fast, too small, too vast for the naked eye to see. But that's because we live in a very narrow dimension. I mean, we all know that. We all have, no matter how open minded we think we are culturally or whatever, it's a narrow point of view, right? And especially if you're a human being, you have a narrow point of view because there are dogs that can smell way better than us and birds that can fly faster than us. So being open to the fact that there are all these other life forms that are experiencing this nirvana we call Earth, which is maybe heaven on earth, um, is something that I'm fascinated with. So getting back to trying to answer the question, once I discovered that flowers dance to the light, I've realized, okay, well, that's critical, not only in terms of beauty, but also for our survival. Because what most people don't know is that flowers turn into fruits, nuts, vegetables, all the healthy food we need to eat. It's the sexual organ of the plant, you know,
mhm,
and it seduces mammals to eat them so they can spread the seed, spread their DNA all over the place so they can flourish. It's called reproduction. But the intersection between the animal world and the plant world was fascinating. I did a film called Wings of Life. Meryl Streep is the voice of the flower, seducing the pollinators with beauty to come get her, to move her pollen around. And the bees are getting this pollen and nectar they take back to the hive in order to feed their babies. But in the process of going from flower to flower, they're moving the DNA of the flower because the flower doesn't have legs, it doesn't have wings, it needs to mate with somebody else. And that is, if you're a scientist, you might say, okay, DNA is a force of energy where life wants to go forward. You can also be a bit of a romantic and say, this is like a love story that feeds the earth.
Right.
It's another way of looking at it. And when I film these stories of like pollination, this magical intersection between the animal world and the plant world, how can I not be grateful for the gift that we get? It's beautiful. It's amazing. It makes all of life go forward. And without that magical moment, we wouldn't be here. Okay, so then you go, well, what do plants need? Well, they need soil. Where does soil come from? People don't know that answer either. Soil is, recycled organic matter that is broken down by fungi. And if we didn't have mushrooms and fungi to recycle all this organic matter, we'd only have one generation of everything. Nothing would decompose, which would be a drag, because the decomposition of this organic matter become the core elements for the plant in the soil to take up these nutrients for a new plant to grow,
Right.
for life to go on. So that was like one of the gateways into wanting to tell that story. I was definitely familiar with the benefits of psilocybin in terms of opening your mind and opening your consciousness. I mean, it can't be chance that the mushroom makes a molecule that opens up a receptor in the brain that helps you see things that you normally don't see because you get rid of the filters.
Right.
It's a spiritual experience. It's a sacred experience. And that's really important as well. It's also important that they sequester carbon under the ground. It's the greatest natural solution for climate change. I mean, any one of these would be a giant mega story to try to tell. So Fantastic Fungi evolved from that, wanting to explore things that I needed to do a deeper dive on. And especially with the psilocybin, the fact that they were using it to treat cancer patients that had end-of-life anxiety, where they were able to feel connected and love in a grand universe, is such a gift to people that are battling with a physiological situation. On top of it, the mental drama of thinking you might die,
Right. Mortality, the whole
which is
fear. Yeah.
pretty big,
Right.
And then you've got that on top of this physical thing with cancer in your liver or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And if you can ease the pain of that and have a different story than most religions offer, which is some story of heaven and hell, and it doesn't resonate for me. What does resonate for me is that I am a small particle in a grand universe, and I feel connected to all of it, and I'm comfortable with that understanding. So all of that needed to be shared.
Yeah.
And 40 million people saw it on Netflix. We had hundreds of screenings. I can't tell you the hundreds of people that said it changed their life
Yeah.
watching the movie. And it really did trigger the quote unquote psychedelic renaissance that happened in 2019, which
Yep.
now we have over 70 universities doing clinical trials with psilocybin. And I've been involved in some of them where my imagery with psilocybin is being used to treat alcohol addiction, PTSD. I mean, look, nature is medicine in terms of viewing it, in terms of hearing it, but also in terms of ingesting it. I mean, healthy food is good for you. We all know
Right.
that. If you really want to get healthy, change your diet or make your diet be great. But the fact that there are some plants and fungi that can elevate consciousness is amazing. And it's not like you have to do it more than once. I think once you can experience it, it's a great gift if you're
Mhm.
willing to do that. You don't have to do it, but it's
Sure.
like any portal. You can become a yoga Buddhist master and live in a cave for 10 years, or you can take some mushrooms and maybe get a similar experience overnight.
Right. Right. All right. So question. So
Okay.
that is Fantastic Fungi. So then 2022,
Yeah.
Gratitude Revealed.
Hmm.
So this is the most recent feature film, and then we're going to go into, you have a series that we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
that season 4 of Moving Art just came out. But quickly, your desire to do Gratitude Revealed, and how did that, if it did, change you?
Yeah. So during COVID, I couldn't go out and shoot. This is when I made Gratitude Revealed. But throughout my life, I've been like archiving my my library of stored imagery. I actually pioneered the whole stock library business. Getty bought my company in 1996. I was just shooting things that turned me on, that were
Yeah.
beautiful. But guess what? Advertising agencies figured out how to use that as well to grab
Mm,
your attention to sell product. Look, the work that I wanted to do did not have an outlet in traditional movies or TV series,
right.
especially back in the 80s, 90s, when all we had were sitcoms and three channels, and
Right.
most films were about violence and fear and conflict. So it was a gift that I was able to license my imagery to ad agencies because they needed beauty to grab your attention in less than 30 seconds.
Mm,
So I've always been archiving my imagery, and I shoot little pieces. It's like when I put gratitude together, it's like a mosaic of magic moments. So again, because of my parents, the stories that I love to tell are stories of people who can overcome adversity but still have love and hope in their life. And those are the stories I went out and captured over the years. And when COVID happened, it was like, well, I guess it's the perfect time for me to edit this film together. And I wanted to tell the story of gratitude, but I didn't want to tell people what gratitude is, or I did it in a way by looking at the values that engender gratitude: wonder, curiosity, compassion, love, connection. I mean, these are all the things that I guess you find in a chapter of a self-help book, which I didn't
mm.
ever, cross-reference, but it's all those little values that add up to gratitude. So that's why I made the film in in 2020 and 2021.
So for yourself, because it sounds like um, you've lived gratitude, like your daily practice, just your consciousness to me seems like gratitude is part of it. Um,
Yes.
so did you end up finding lots of other people who they're living their life this way as well? Is that part of what you discovered, or what did you discover in doing this
Well,
film?
with the stories that I did capture and share in
Yeah.
the movie, like I said, people who overcome adversity, they are passionate and they're grateful for the life that they have. And when it comes to like observing nature, like when you're blown away by, as I described earlier, that whether it's pollination or a flower opening, it makes you present. And when you become present, the next thing is you become grateful for that moment,
Yeah.
that you're able to feel, you know, um, the divine. I mean, we don't get to feel that very often. And so when I finally become present, and it's not easy for anyone to become present, there's meditation practices, there's all kinds of stuff. And even for me, it's not easy to do. I can't just turn it on. I
Right.
have to dive into that flower. I have to like absorb the wavelength of that color, that energy, and say, how does it make me feel? And just kind of relish it for a while. And then
Hmm.
things slow down, and I'm filled with wonder and awe. And then the wonder and awe is the gateway to gratitude. Because
Yep.
then the only thing you can feel is how grateful I am to experience
Right.
this moment of beauty.
Yeah.
And beauty, I believe, is the portal into the divine.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I started meditating, 25 years ago, and what really impacted me then was the notion that the only moment that really exists is this present moment, right? That everything else is in the
Right.
ether and everything else hasn't happened yet. And it made me not want to rush through my life, right? It made me not want to check boxes all the time, although I had been quite a box checker prior to that. Um, it made me really rethink like the what a privilege it is to be in this present moment. Okay, so let's talk. Next, I want to talk about moving art. So, this
Okay.
is a series that you've created. It is now, you just released season 4, but can you
Mhm.
just talk about the project from the get go and what is it about? And
Yeah. So when we started the series, like probably 6 or 7 years ago, it launched on Netflix because Netflix had announced that they could stream 4K. 4K is a higher resolution playback. It's like 4 times sharper than HD.
Mhm.
So it's funny, they didn't have any content, and they were going to the Consumer Electronics Show, and I had met the CTO at a TED Talk, and he remembered I had this library. So I said, okay, I can put together some stuff for you at the last minute, but I'm going to do it my way. So it was
Mhm.
music and visuals, no host,
Mm,
no narrator, no
yep.
celebrity. I want people to go on their own personal journey, you know,
Mm,
and I take people on that journey through an ecosystem, forests, flowers, deserts, underwater.
mhm.
There's a story that's being told. Obviously, I'm a filmmaker. I'm pulling you through an ecosystem, but I'm not doing it the old fashioned way, where there has to be a setup, where there's conflict and then resolution. You know, it's more like let's just soak up the feminine side of energy, where it's all about
Mm,
relationships, it's all about cooperation, about regeneration, about rebirth. Fabulous stories, deep, beautiful stories that are about harmony and coherence and love. So that's what I wanted to do, and they ended up, putting it. If this was a pitch, can you imagine to
mm-mm.
any podcast or Netflix? They go, "Oh, what the fuck out of here!" I mean,
Get out of
this
here.
hippie bullshit, right? But because I was able to kind of come through a back door, lo and behold, people loved it.
Mm,
And people kept on watching it every day and they turned it into a practice. The same episode, which is unusual for any kind of TV show. You don't watch the same thing every day because people said, "This is how I start my day." A lot of young people said they use it as a video alarm clock. I love that phrase. And so I've had these comments from parents with children with autism
mm,
saying that they had major breakthrough, teenagers that were suicidal, people dealing with stress and PTSD and anxiety, folks going into operations post-op and pre-op, and most incredibly end-of-life anxiety, where they said it healed them. And I never said it was a healing modality.
no.
And there's nothing, you can't leave a comment on Netflix. You actually have to surf the web and find my name and my website and leave a long story, which is pretty remarkable because most people don't want to click more than once or twice if you're trying
Right.
to sell something, right?
Yep.
To go out and search a website and leave a comment, that's a lot of work for most people. So that's how it evolved. But that's the origin story for the series. It had, and I licensed it so that I could maintain ownership of it and be able to share it the way I want to share it with people. It
Mm,
expired, and now I created my own channel called
great.
Moving Art, movingart.com, and that's the release of season 4, which has Antarctica, it's got Peru. Again, I'm taking people on journeys through time and scale, which I know is going to open their heart. And I don't tell them what to think. I don't tell them
Mm,
what to feel. It's up to you to lean into it. It's up to you to realize the sacred rhythms and patterns that are visual and the music that also touches your heart. And I do believe that what I'm tapping into isn't my art, it's universal rhythms, it's
mm,
universal truth because it's nature. And I didn't create nature. I'm just enhancing it by slowing it down or speeding it up or zooming in or zooming out. I
yeah.
can get rid of the filters that get to the essence of what it is. And when you get to the essence of it, then it's universal truth
It's
and
so
healing.
immersive, though, Louis. It's so immersive. Like my experience of, and I actually just watched the promo for season 4, and it's like immediately dropping in a way
Hmm.
that I feel like if there was a narrator, I wouldn't. It's like they are between me and that immersive drop where you're just
Right,
looking and suddenly you're like, oh, it almost, I can't even describe it other than it's incredibly beautiful, but it's moving. It's in a world that right now is so hard, right? This world is so hard. There's so much wrong things happening in so many places
right,
that watching just the promo, it's my mind was like, oh, but there's so much that's still right. There's so much in the world of nature that is still right. And it's funny, I live, my husband and I live on like a little farm, and we've got like hens and geese and a dog. And there's a very, I'm always so grateful to be snuggled up to nature, and how when I feel overwhelmed with the 24-hour bad news cycle, which I try to stay away
yeah,
from, but you got to be informed. I always look to nature and I'm just watching the bees, or I'm watching my flowers grow, or I'm seeing the bunnies run in my backyard, thinking, okay, but nature is still naturing. Like she's still doing it. So this is terrible over here, but this is still magical and still happening. And I feel like you
right,
really capture that in moving art, the hope that is inherent in these images and in the way that you've shot it and what you've done. And I also want to say props to you for doing it your way, Louis, because going up against these systems, these deciding you would hold on to the rights, deciding,
right,
these are, that takes that takes courage, that takes the willingness to walk away. That maybe this is, they're not going to agree to this. But in doing it and doing it your way, I don't think it would be the immersive experience
right,
if someone else had creative control over the way it
right.
was presented. So, I mean, you must, somewhere in your heart of hearts, you obviously knew that, which is why you did it. Oh, so many more questions. All right, I have to
Well,
ask you.
if nature's
Good.
going to give me, but if nature gives me these gifts of magic moments, it isn't just like pointing a camera at a river or a mountain. You're going to get it. I mean, it's patience. It's really being open to serendipity, and if there's a rainbow and a magical thing, I accept that as a gift that I need to capture. But if I've captured it, now I've got the responsibility and the burden of sharing it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's. Uh, I think that's what gives me that courage or the chutzpah to say,
Yeah.
I'm doing it my way because I am the protector of these stories.
Mm,
You know, it's been handed to me. I'm responsible
yep.
for it. I'm the
Yes.
caretaker for it, and I need to do what's right for it, just like you do with your children.
Yep.
It's a gift. They're separate from you, but you still have a responsibility to take care of them.
Yes, it's kind of how I feel
So,
about the books that I've written, where I never had my boundaries. I wrote a whole book on boundaries, but I never had better boundaries for myself than like I really went to the mat to write the book I wanted to write, even
right,
when everyone on the editorial team thought I was doing it wrong. I was like, yeah, but it's not your book, and this is the way it has to be for people to get what I need them to get. All right, I have a question about, is there anything, have you noticed any changes in your own sort of nervous system or your attention or your mental state after spending so much time immersed in nature? Or
yeah.
is it, or are you immersed in nature that much, or is it your cameras that are?
It's off and on. I mean, when I'm on location filming, yeah, I'm really immersed and definitely in my one little bedroom where I got the cameras going nonstop. I mean, I
Mhm.
just check in and out like several times a day. It's not a full-time job at all. It takes a week for a flower to open. It could take weeks for a mushroom to grow. So I'm just like making sure that it's alive.
Mhm.
But I guess the question is, I mean, how has it changed me or how does it affect me? I feel that I think I've got a lot of wisdom from it. And I share that wisdom with people. They go, "Oh God, you're so smart." No, I've just been observing how I've been observing nature's operating instructions.
Mm.
It's not rocket science. How does shit work? You know?
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
basically, there are symbiotic relationships that you
Mhm.
observe in nature, and once you see how they work and how they enable each other, you can take those lessons and bring it into your personal relationships as well.
Mm.
You know, you're not greedy. Look at the mycelial network. It's a shared economy under the ground for ecosystems to flourish without greed. They're sharing nutrients, they're sharing information with one another, and the entire community, a forest, not a bunch of trees, it's a community,
Yeah.
flourishes.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's
Right.
the blueprint for like how you run your company, your society, your city, your country. And there is nobody's projecting fear, and that's
Mm.
the situation you kind of touched on earlier. Right now we have fear is being put out by entertainment, by news, and by politicians big time,
Hmm.
more than ever before in the history of the world.
Yep.
Because anyone that's got a website or an Instagram account can, like, say whatever they want. The danger of democracy, freedom of speech,
Right.
right?
True.
So what I'm trying, and that triggers a primal, this, emotion.
Mhm.
Fear is the easiest thing to trigger. That's why movies and even that Geo, BBC, nature docs, there's always about, the top of the food chain, which is kill or be killed, survival of the fittest, this
Yep.
male macho story, which is true at the very top of the food chain, which is a fraction of life on our planet. Okay?
Right.
There's
But gets a
zillions,
lot of airtime.
and it gets a lot of airtime because
Hmm.
they know that it can grab your attention
Right.
because it's very, very primitive in that
Yeah.
approach. But you can also get attention by turning people onto beauty and
That's right.
love, and which is an emotion that triggers serotonin and
Hmm.
endorphins. And the
Right.
fear thing triggers adrenaline. And if you're not going to be
Hmm.
running into fight or flight, the adrenaline turns into cortisol and inflammation and will shorten your life. So beyond the mental, um, impact of looking at violence and conflict and fear, the physiological effect
Yeah.
yet to really be known, I think, to a general audience. They keep on saying, we want you to sit on the edge of your seat. We want every film you see is like designed to make you feel edgy.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
It's,
how many people are being killed, blown up in front of you? This
right.
is not normal life.
No.
And it's impossible not to look at it because it's like
Mm.
there's a car crash. You're going to look at the car crash if
Right.
it happened in front of you. But that's so f***ing basic. It's
Right.
more artistic to get you to laugh or cry. That's
Mm.
art,
Yep.
and beauty is certainly better. So what I'm hoping with moving art is I want to create an emotion that's equal or maybe more powerful than fear,
Mm. I love it.
because you
So,
can't intellectually tell people to ignore that because it doesn't work. It's
right.
primal. You will always
Right.
relate to fear, right? If I point a gun at you right now,
Yep.
I'm going to get you to react a certain way. It's
Right.
like a no-brainer. But I want that emotion of fear. We can't say it's bad for you. Make it stop doing it. It's addictive. It's like
Right.
saying fast food is bad for you, or smoking might be bad for you. It's addictive. What we
Right.
can do is say, check this out.
Right.
Whoa, look at that beautiful experience over here.
Yeah.
Whether it's with nature, whether with another person, whether with your dog, your child, there are all
Yep.
kinds of beautiful experiences, acts of kindness, all kinds of things that can turn you on, light you up in
Yeah.
ways that make you feel good. And isn't it great that it makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Who thought of that as
And
a
good for
reward?
you. Right. And
Yeah.
good for you as well. It's like
In
this
order to do
combo
the right
platter.
thing, you get a reward. It makes you feel good. The other stuff
Amazing.
doesn't make you feel good.
No.
It's addictive.
Yes. All right. So where can people access season 4
Yeah.
of Moving Art?
Okay, so you go to movingart.com, and I know there's like a free trial that people can have for a while. It's very inexpensive. It's like $5.99 a
It's
month.
worth it.
But we need to obviously, have it like nature's operating instructions. It has to be sustainable. We're far
Yes.
from making it be sustainable, but we're on a path to having it pay for itself so that I can gift it to healthcare, to children's hospitals. That's the goal. And I'm
Yeah.
doing that now, but I think if the general public can get the benefit of it and make it sustainable, then we can accomplish both goals.
I love it. So tell me, Louie Schwartzberg, where can
Yeah.
people find you?
Movingart.com.
Okay. So, but what about social media? Are you on the socials?
Oh, yeah. It's under movingart.com as well.
Great.
And my
Okay.
name, but I think movingart.com, in less than 5 or 6 months, since we launched it on our own platform, we have now 450,000 followers on Instagram. So there's evidence, I'm not bragging about that, there's evidence that there's a need and there's an audience for people that
Yes.
want something that's authentic, that's real, that is good for you, that is a window into the divine. It's right under our nose. That's why my next film is about beauty, and I'm calling it hidden beauty
Mm,
because of the fact that it's right in front of us, but we don't see it, which is
right.
really a shame. But you just have to learn how to open your eyes, change your worldview, and all
Mhm.
this beauty comes into you.
Right. So
So
when is that one coming out?
I'm hoping in the fall or toward the end of the year,
Great.
because beauty in my thesis is it could be the code of life.
I got to tell you, I have been a beautyaholic for my entire life. Always incredibly drawn and prioritizing beauty and needing it around me, like making
Yeah.
it so that there's beautiful things everywhere. So I cannot wait for that movie. But in the meantime, I'm super psyched that we can, everyone can right now go to movingart.com. I want to
Right.
say, Louis, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am obsessed with you. You guys
Uh,
go follow Louis everywhere. Get your beauty on because this is the best mental health advice that I have for you. But again, thank you, Louis. I really appreciate you.
And thank you, Terry, for the work that you do and how with your books and what you've done to educate and help people look at things differently in a more positive way. And I've really enjoyed this conversation immensely.
Me too.